Physicality, intensity, and passion will erupt tonight as two bitter rivals square off in an East Division playoff preview. The Buffalo Bandits and Toronto Rock battle for home turf advantage in the postseason. Live from Toronto, National Lacrosse League action starts right now. welcome to the ACC in Toronto. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. Big one here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. NLL action. The rivalries, the bitterness, the aggressiveness doesn't get any bigger than Buffalo Bandits and Toronto Rock.
These teams have quite a history, and we've seen a lot of, as you said, very intense games between them. Of course, Buffalo having won both the games this season 12-10. They have a bit of an edge so far, but this means an awful lot to the Rock as well tonight. Of
course, and the Toronto Rock former head coach, Troy Cordingley. Won Coach of the Year last season, got fired after another one and done. Took over the Buffalo Bandits, a hot start, won 8 of their first 10 on a 5-game losing streak. So the Buffalo Bandits actually haven't won a game since March 15th against Colorado. This slide, obviously troubling. You don't want to be going into the postseason cold, Stamper.
No, and I mean it's remarkable that they did so well early. They already have a postseason spot clinched, and they are very close to clinching second. But definitely, it's very troubling to have this kind of slide. Considering last year they started off pretty well as well, and then had a big slide, a big losing streak, and that killed them. And they actually didn't make the playoffs. They know they'll be in this year, but they want to go in with another win. They want to make sure they're hosting, and they want to get things going again. That's the big thing. Start winning.
Anthony Cosmo, goaltender for the Buffalo Bandits. Some history in the making that I'm sure will happen tonight. 18 saves away from being the all-time leader in, is it single saves in the season?
Single season saves.
Yeah. Quite the accomplishment.
He has 645 right now. Matt Vince holds the record with 662. So the 18th one, trainer Ted Cordingley will grab the ball, and if he can, it'll still be in play. But he'll try and get that ball and mark that record on there for Anthony Cosmo. And that's one of the remarkable things about the way this season has gone for Buffalo is they've been having so much trouble. Cosmo has still been playing very well for them. In the 5 losses in a row, he's stopped 49 saves twice.
Wow.
And, he's still been playing very well for them.
Number 1 in save percentage in the NLL, 3rd in goals against average. So despite that slide, as you said, still outstanding goaltending. For the Buffalo Bandits, can you put your finger on what's the reason for this slide? Is it offense? Is it a combination of defensive breakdowns? Can you put your finger on why?
It's everything. The offense hasn't been scoring. In the games that Buffalo has won, they've averaged something like 11.8 or 12 goals a game. In the games they've lost, the last 5, they've been averaging less than 9 goals a game. Obviously, the offense is not clicking the way it was. Defensively, they've been having more breakdowns. Again, hard to say why. It's the same guys, it's the same system, and it's a little perplexing. It's not just perplexing us. The whole Buffalo Bandits organization is trying to figure it out.
Talk about the impact that Ryan Benesh has made this season. Of course, really the star of the Minnesota Swarm last season, a part of that upset in Toronto that we saw. Ryan Benesh moves over to the Bandits, leads them in assists with 41, points at 61. His impact has been tremendous.
Well, and he's the kind of guy who'll go inside, get things flowing through the middle, which is what Buffalo really needs. They have a number of players who are more comfortable spending a fair bit of time on the perimeter. You're not going to see, for the most part, John Tavares, Sean Williams, guys like that, going into the middle of the floor to create. They tend to create their offense a bit more from the outside. So Benesh going in there makes a big difference, and he's so talented.
You bring up John Tavares' name, and the first word that comes to mind is legend. He's done it all. But at this point in his career, what is his true value to this Buffalo Bandits team? Is it more leadership? Hey guys, I've been there, I've done this before. Do you feel he can still be a top-tier contributor today and into this postseason drive for Buffalo?
Well, he's still among their top 4 scorers on the team. He did sit out as a healthy scratch. They were trying to give him a bit of a rest and make him a little fresher going into the playoffs. He's not the player he was a few years ago when he was still battling for scoring championships. So leadership is a big part of it, but he still seems to score the big goals. He'll still go hard to the net on the drives, and he's still a brilliant passer. So he still brings things to the table. He will not want to play when he doesn't feel he's contributing to the team. And he has said he's been, just like everyone else, he's been a contributor to the losses in the last 5 games. He doesn't think he's played very well. They all need to play better.
I mentioned off the top, home turf advantage in the opening round of the playoffs is on the line tonight. Buffalo's already won the season series, as you said, a couple of 12-10 victories. The situation is, if the Rock win out today and next week against Minnesota, and Buffalo loses every game. They have a pair against Rochester, and then the Swarm following this one. Toronto would get that first round one and done playoff matchup. Yeah. Now we look at Toronto, an interesting choice in goal. To go back to Nick Rose, Brandon Miller, lights out last week, playing at an elite level, 32 of 34 saves in the second half a week ago. Any rhyme or reason do you think that John Lovell would go back to Nick Rose in such an important game when Miller hasn't been playing so well?
It is a little surprising, not because Nick Rose isn't a good goalie, because the team believes in him. They feel like even when they were losing games, he wasn't the problem.
No.
They've said very much that he was as valuable a player as they've had on this team. But Rose had struggled some this year, and Miller, the big thing, as you pointed out, the last 2 weeks has been brilliant. In the game against Vancouver, the Stealth actually outshot Toronto, even though Toronto won 17-9. Brandon Miller was fantastic in that game. He was great last week as well, especially, as you pointed out, in the second half. So
it seemed like a calming presence. It seemed like a calming presence when Miller was out there, and when things started to go wrong, I didn't feel the same. I don't want to use the word panic, but it seemed like a calm, relaxing presence. And so that's interesting that that he won't be starting. Of course, Garrett Billings a couple weeks ago went down with that torn ACL. He's out for the year. 101 points beforehand. Would have broken the scoring record for sure. In the Philly win last week, I liked how multiple players were able to step up, and the fact that Rob Hellyer, with that extra pressure, still getting it done. 3 goals, 5 assists.
And you know what? He stepped his game up. It wasn't just that he got the points, because sometimes the points just come. You have to look beyond that and recognize how integral he made himself to that offense. He was getting inside. He was helping drive the ball towards the net. He was making passes. He was going into the dirty areas. He was doing a lot of things and really helping to replace not just the points of Garrett Billings, but the role that Billings was playing and that needed to be picked up by someone.
Yeah. Let's send it down to the floor for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons' command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada. on guard for thee.
Welcome to prime time here at the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. The Rock taking on the Buffalo Bandits. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp, bringing to you this East Division battle, the rivalry, the passion between these two teams, Stamper. And it got even deeper this offseason when former Rock head coach Troy Cordingley became the top guy in Buffalo.
It did, and he's going to want to beat his team. They've beaten them 12-10 twice this season, and Buffalo wants to sweep it. Anytime these teams meet up, it is a little extra special. Every game in this league is so important, but there's definitely something extra when these two come to battle.
Absolutely, and we mentioned Anthony Cosmo, number 1 in save percentage around the National Lacrosse League, .804 save percentage, third in goals against average at 10.60. Also for Buffalo, loose balls 4th in the league. Jay Thornbert, one of the better loose ball men and face-off guys. And you look up there still, Stamper, Garrett Billings, even after being out for a couple weeks, is still at the top of assists and points, near the top of the NLL.
Yeah, he's still second in assists behind only Sean Evans. He was on pace to probably break the single-season assists record. He certainly had an excellent shot. We figured he was going to do it.
Sure.
The single-season points record. And, they obviously missed Billings. And the fact that Josh Sanderson is out tonight with the flu.
With the flu.
Is a huge factor for them because, you take Garrett Billings and Josh Sanderson out of any lineup, and it becomes pretty tricky.
Impact. Good news for the Rock has been the bounce-back season in a huge way by Stefan LeBlanc. Second in the league in goals scored at 39. He's been physical, he's been nasty, and that's a large part in his success.
Well, and he's been shooting very well as well. That's the key. I mean, he's been hitting the outside shot. He's been sliding down the seams and hitting those shots. And his confidence is way up.
Absolutely. Starting goaltenders tonight for the Buffalo Bandits, Anthony Cosmo. For the Toronto Rock, Nick Rose back in between the pipes. And here we go! Bandits versus Rock. Bandits Paul Thornbert got the win. Bandits in their visiting black and orange uniforms. Love those unis. And the Rock, white, blue, and red.
Thornbert will win a lot of faceoffs. He's among the best in the league. He's really upped his faceoff game. And there's the first shot by Ryan Benesh. It's wide and it's picked up
over the top, and it's really been an area of the face-off that Toronto hasn't necessarily focused on. Red one, and Rose with the stop on the right-hand side stands tall. They haven't really focused on. Stephen Hoare released mid-season, and a bit of a patchwork. Ethan O'Connor and Pat Merrill.
Yeah, they tend to move it around, try some different guys. We've seen Scott Johnston take some.
Sure.
A bit of a mixed bag, as you said, and none of them have been extraordinarily successful. But, Toronto is one of the teams that doesn't believe that you necessarily need a guy who can place enough value on faceoffs to have a guy that's his primary thing.
That's
like a Bob Snyder, who's very good at it, but doesn't do as much elsewhere on the floor for you.
1 minute has gone by in the opening quarter. Rob Hellier, keep an eye on him. Nick Diachenko, number 8. A scoop by Doyle. And keep an eye on Nick Diachenko. Came out strong. Had a nice game last week in his first game with the Toronto Rock. And he's quick, he's feisty, and could be an impact player down the road.
He could. He had a goal and a pair of assists last week after not having played offense since junior B days.
Really?
Yeah, pretty remarkable.
Going for the bounce shot. It looks like the Buffalo Bandits are targeting the glove hand side of Nick Rose on the low end. And we've seen him struggle in there from time to time this season. See if that becomes an issue or a factor. Again, surprising that Brandon Miller not in goal for the Toronto Rock. There's Rob Hellier over the top. Shot deflected. Watch out for Casey Bierns on the left-hand side. Almost went through the crease, popped it back out to the right wing. Being pushed out, Colin Doyle. Hellier waits, has a lane, takes some time, scores! Rob Hellier had all day. Nobody took care of number 10, and it's 1-0 Toronto.
Hellier once again showing that outside shooting capacity. We've long known he can shoot, but he's stepped up his shooting game, scoring, really having a huge career season for the Rock. And this time he's just going to have, as you said, lots of time and space.
28th goal of the season. Take us through this one, Stamper.
He just takes that pass. Nobody comes out to get him. You can see Jay Thornbert is about 3 steps too late to get over there. Nobody had him. He just beats Cosmo clean between the legs.
Buffalo Bandits, traditionally a tough team to play against, hard hitting, and especially when they go up against Toronto. Buffalo Bandits fans travel well also. You'll see, I'm sure, sprinkled throughout the crowd, some orange and black gear. Casey Beards with the bounce pass, taking to Colin Doyle. He's in the neutral zone. 14 left on the shot clock. There's Hellier. Sent to the weak side over the top. Swing and batted down by Steve Priolo. Stephen LeBlanc with the chance. Casey Beards trying to go back door. Ran out of real estate, though. Beards comes up with the loose ball in the corner. Shot clock expires. Put the bouncer right on Cosmo.
As the Bandits come on the offense, keep an eye out also for number 24. Mitch Jones made his debut with the Bandits last week. They picked him up from the Stealth. He's playing hockey at Northern Michigan University, and he has the ball right now and only becomes available late in the season for this year and next year.
Over the top and scores! Mitch Jones! There you go! Making it look good, Stamper. Mitch Jones plants, rears back, and fires. We're tied up at 1.
He can definitely shoot, has plenty of time to set his feet and get that one off, and beats Rose. And I'll tell you, he had a brilliant performance in the 2012 Minto Cup when he helped lead the Orangeville Northmen to a title. And he is going to be a very good one. He was drafted a little lower than he normally would have been because of the hockey commitment. And he is going to be a very good player. They're excited about him as an heir apparent to John Tavares and Sean Williams as a playmaker on the left side. And he showed you there he can rip it too.
Well, how about some fresh legs and a new look that teams haven't been able to get a chance to scout heading into the postseason? That's a benefit. Went sidearm, turned aside. Watch out for Mark Stainhouse, of course. Loose ball scramble in the far corner. Still battling for position. Scott Johnson in on the action. Rob Marshall as well. Finally scoots free. Johnson comes up with it. And Johnson hustles over the line. Shots 4-3 in favor of the visiting Buffalo Bandits.
You got to feel a bit for the referees in a scrum like that. Jason Wiswell trying to see through about 8 or 9 players. There's no way they can see everything that's going on in that scrum.
Doyle with a nice spin move. We saw him score off of a similar spin last week. Didn't get a chance to convert there. All tied up at 1 here. A race up the back. And tied up nicely by Pat Merrill. Mitch Wild was gunning it, and the wily veteran was able to strip him of the ball.
Mitch Wild's been a great addition to this club this year. He's shown we're going to have our first penalty of the game. It's going to be holding to Patrick Merrill on that play.
Wow. So Merrill going to the sin bin for a couple. You don't like to take penalties, Stamper, but that might have been an okay one. That might have been an okay one because Wild was going to be all alone.
He was coming in. He scored some goals for them this year, showed the speed. He was one of the absolute top guys in the NLL draft combine last year in Toronto.
John Tavares, the ageless wonder, number 11 on the floor on the right side. Watch out for him. Shot turned aside. That was by Sean Williams. Talk about veterans. One of the better ones. Quick outlet pass. Jesse Gamble finds him. Snapped to Edwards. Stephen LeBlanc waits in the face-off circle for reinforcements. Has to spin around, being pressured by Derek Sutton's Whitby native. Rob Hellier trying to center up. 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Trying to eat as much clock as possible. Minute 20 remaining on the minor to Pat Merrill. Behind the back dump, falling. That was Kevin Ross. 9:50 to go in this opening quarter. You see a replay. We'll have our first media timeout. We're all tied up at 1. You're watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Evans, flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon into the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again! It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games, live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
Get some new team gear for the season by visiting the NLL shop online. Go to shop.nll.com for the best prices and selection on clothing and accessories for all 9 teams. With flat rate shipping and no hassle returns, the NLL shop is the place for all things NLL. Visit shop.nll.com today, powered by Fanatics. Welcome back to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. It's the Toronto Rock hosting the Buffalo Bandits. We're all tied up at 1. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. And the Stamper, we talked about it off the top. First round home playoff game is still on the table. The Rock have to win out. The Buffalo Bandits have to lose out. And it all starts tonight. A nice close one, still a minute 10 on the power play for the Bandits to the holding column, Toronto's Pat Merrill. Kick back to Tavares. Bandits cycling the ball around the perimeter. Banesh makes the go to the low post, tries to set up and create a lane. Gets pushed back out now. 8 on the shot clock for Buffalo. One for the one touch. Didn't get all of it. Sandy Chapman draped all over Joe Resiteritz. 43 seconds left to kill for Toronto. We have a 3-on-2 break here over the top. One for the bouncer, well wide stick side. Buffalo back the other way. It's going to be a 4-on-1 here. The Bandits wait and wide. Nick Rose, nice job cutting down that angle. The Rock got caught on the fast break. Couldn't get back in time.
And you have to give Rose a lot of credit when you have Mark Stainhouse bearing down one on none. It is not easy to stop him from scoring.
No, absolutely not. Ethan O'Connor, the rookie, dishes, heads to the bench. This will be an East Division semi-final preview. It's a one and done, and then when you get to the conference championships is when get into the new playoff format for the National Lacrosse League of the 2-game series and a 10-minute mini game if they're tied after that. There's Stephen LeBlanc, sent back behind the line. Colin Doyle waits, puts the low post. Typically the spot where you'd see Josh Sanderson at this point in the game out with the flu. And the Rock seeming a little bit off without number 19 tonight.
It's a little tough. I mean, he's not, like so many, as he gets a little bit older, he's not necessarily the player he was, but he's still such a great passer in the slot there.
Knows where to be, knows where to position himself, doesn't he?
So smart.
Went 5-0, Rose stood tall. Still tied at 1. Buffalo out shooting Toronto 7-3. We're back to even strength here. 5-on-5. Scott Johnson gives to Nick Diachenko. See what he can do in his second game for the Toronto Rock. A goal and 2 assists. Add a lot of energy. Diachenko trying to back his way through. Puts his shoulder down. Went for a sidearm whip. Nice velocity on it. Turned aside by Cosmo.
Very similar shot to what he scored on last week.
Cipriello punishing number 8. Toronto ball. Casey Behrens will take it in the neutral zone. Kevin Ross on the floor getting some playing time with Josh Anderson out, seeing if he can prove himself. Stephen LeBlanc with a beautiful swim move. Few better. Casey Behrens scores! Behrens gobbled up the rebound. Cosmo was flailed out on the ground. And Behrens makes it 2 on Toronto.
That's just Stephen LeBlanc slipping past his man, getting that shot off from in close, bouncing it off the far post, goes straight to Behrens, who makes no mistake putting that one home. And the Rock take the lead. Their first of the game.
25th goal of the year for Casey Behrens.
Their second, sorry. They scored the first goal. Here is the play. There's the slip move by LeBlanc on Andrew Watt that really set it up. Anthony Cosmo down on the ground, tries to throw that leg and arm up, but Casey Behrens makes no mistake.
Dominic Hasek style didn't quite work. Stephen LeBlanc has really perfected that swim move over the offseason, Stamper, and he's a linebacker on a pass rush, to use a football terminology, as Anthony Cosmo makes a stunning save, goes to his knees. He's beaten so many defenders this year with that move.
Yeah.
It's really added a lot to his game.
Well, the thing is, you have to play up on him, because if you give him space, he can rip it home from the outside.
Buffalo Bandits trying to tie things up. Stainhouse couldn't spin and turn on Nick Rose. Back to Ryan Benesh. There's Benesh setting up just inside the line, getting pushed back. 2 seconds on the shot clock. Benesh has to just whip it around. Knuckled and almost fooled Rose, who looks sturdy so far.
Billy Hostrauss are going very slowly over to the bench. He took a shot in the back and looks very upset and in a fair bit of pain as he makes his way to the bench.
A reminder, once Anthony Cosmo gets 18 saves in this game, he will set the single-season save record. Rob Hellier being pushed back, trying to delay that inevitability. Gets one step closer there. Outlet pass to Andrew Watt. He chugs over center, waits for reinforcements. 5:50 remaining in the first quarter. 2-1 the score for the Toronto Rock. Mitch Jones snaps it to the far wing. Sent back to Jones outside. Jones has Buffalo's lone goal tonight. There's John Tavares. Dump to Jones. Back in the slot. And the shot clock expired. Would have scored. But the buzzer did go.
Yeah, no question. He's going to get a delay of game call for taking that shot after the buzzer had gone. And that's a rookie mistake by the youngster.
Shows his frustration. You can see it on his face and his body language. So Toronto will get their first power play opportunity. We saw last week they got busted shorthanded. So they got to be careful of that. And that's been a place where Toronto, sometimes on the power play this season, have been a little lax on defense and have been caught.
And you've got to watch T. Priolo and Andrew Watt up top are two really dangerous guys to take off with the ball.
Colin Doyle, when stick side, turned away easily by Anthony Cosmo. Rumbling back down the floor. Here come the Bandits. There's Priolo, as you said, Stamper went far side. Priolo showed some hops, snaring that ball. Going to eat up some clock.
And Priolo stayed out for some offensive shifts this year and actually done a very good job, both at setting some hard picks and at becoming part of the flow of the ball.
6 seconds left on the shot clock. Finds Ryan Benesh. 2 seconds. See if he gets one more. And it will be Toronto possession. 1:13 with the man advantage for the Rock. Go Rock, go chance. Echoing throughout the Air Canada Centre. Bandits with an 8-7 record. Toronto 7-9. Buffalo with the game in hand. They'll finish their schedule after this. Back-to-back games against first place in the division, Rochester Nighthawks, and defending two-time NLL champions. Went 1, 2, 3, count it. Casey Bearns. Do you think they practiced that one? 3-1 Toronto.
You can tell just how comfortable they are moving that ball around. And, Rob Hellier stepping in seamlessly to be a part of this and getting the ball moving around. Comes back to the right-hand side, and Casey Bearns, in his patented style, just lets it touch the mesh ever so briefly en route to the back of the net.
And that's what we were talking about, Stamper, with the absence of Garrett Billings. And not that Casey Bearns wasn't a regular contributor previously. 26 goals of the season tells you that. But he does need to step up in a bigger way, as everybody else does, when you lose 101 points with Garrett Billings.
Yeah, everyone needs to, and they're having a chat over there near the face-off circle. But Bearns has been an absolute contributor throughout his career.
Absolutely.
Trying to see what exactly is going on. It looks like both penalty box doors are open, one of which because the off-floor official has come out.
Okay, we'll try to sort that out and take the media timeout. 3-1 to score. Toronto up on Buffalo. You're watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network.
Bandits Lacrosse. Get your tickets now, starting at just $28, or your McDonald's Family 4-pack for just $89. Don't miss the hard-hitting, high-scoring action this season. Score! Stainhouse loses check, takes a shot, he scores! Tickets are available at the First Niagara Center box office, online at bandits.com, or by phone at 1-888-467-2273. See you in Banditland.
$15 season tickets today to lock in the best seats at unbeatable prices. Visit ColoradoMammoth.com.
Our game is just the start of a great weekend of live action on the Lacrosse Network. Join us again tomorrow night for 3 live games starting at 7:30 Eastern as the Rochester Nighthawks host the Buffalo Bandits. Watch them all live at youtube.com/TLN at 10 Eastern. The Vancouver Stealth welcome in the Philadelphia Wings live exclusively on universalsports.com. Viewers in the United States can watch that game with a subscription to Universal Sports Network. If you don't currently subscribe to the channel, call your cable or satellite provider and tell them you want the Universal Sports Network. Fans in Canada can watch the game live on universalsports.com with no subscription needed. Welcome back to the Air Canada Centre. Action back underway here. 3-1, the Toronto Rock leading the Buffalo Bandits. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. And count it right there, Ryan Benesh through the 5-hole of Nick Rose. Right out of the break, 3-2. And we mentioned it off the top. Ryan Benesh leads this team in points, and he's money. You can't leave him alone.
No, and, just 3 seconds in after the restart, and Buffalo buries that one immediately. Here you see it. Williams just cuts in. So you had to Benesh, and there you go.
There you go, just like that. And Toronto has been susceptible to runs this year. Not the last 2 really with Brandon Miller in goal, but earlier on they have been susceptible to runs. So something to keep an eye on when something I'm sure Troy Quarterly and the Buffalo Bandits are well aware of. Trying to back his way in. Kick back was Kevin Ross. Kevin Ross scooping up the garbage in the spot traditionally held for Josh Sanderson. Nick Rose to the bench, extra attacker on. Penalty coming up to the Bandits. Diachenko races off. Sandy Chapman on the floor trying to create some space. 13 left on the shot clock. Rock fully setting out Beards going for the hat trick. Cosmo stood on his tiptoes to take up all of that net.
It's going to be Rory Smith getting the call. Two minutes for slashing.
So Rory Smith in the bin. Toronto's second power play of the night, as you see Casey Behrens, the nice scoring opportunity. Already has 2. Rob Hellier, the other Toronto goal scored for the Bandits thus far. Ryan Benesh and Mitch Jones. Con Doyle setting around. Casey Behrens tries to set a pick. Stephen LeBlanc retrieves the rebound, sent back to the captain. Fake the shot, blind pass finds Hellier. Off the leg of Dane Smith. And minute 30 to go on the infraction to the Buffalo Bandits. Spinning back and absolutely hammered. Steve Priolo. Wow. Toronto defense not letting up any shorthanded opportunities, at least not yet.
And Priolo used to being on the other side, the giving side of that kind of shot.
2:23 remaining in the opening quarter. Con Doyle sidestep, went for the blind over the top shot. Didn't get a whole lot on it though. Rob Hellier can't come up with the loose ball.
And the Rock really seemed to be looking on the power play up high, not moving it down as much. LeBlanc obviously scoring his last goal, driving to the net, and the rebound came out, but to Behrens for his goal. But the Rock seemed to be looking for something up over the top in the last few possessions.
Trying through the screen. 35 seconds left on the Buffalo penalty. Bandits doing a nice job eating up time. Nick Rose will hand it to Bill Greer. And now there's Rob Hellier jogging into Bandit territory. 18 seconds left on the power play. Condon sets the pick. The screen. Scores. Stephen LeBlanc. Goal number 40.
And Stephen LeBlanc, the recipient of a nice little pass there, and just ripping it home. We talked about how he can do it from anywhere. This time he just slides down a little low and tucks that one in.
40th goal, and what a year Stephen LeBlanc has had. He's worked very hard, as I said, stirring up his physicality, has that gorgeous swim move. As you get a look at this goal.
Just bouncing that one down low, and we talked about how that outside shot forces them to pay attention to you.
Yeah. Went for Benesh, spins, Little dump sidearm. Scott Johnson was all over him, though. Damon Edwards strolling to the neutral zone. Now turns on the Jets. Edwards saw somebody he liked. Sidearm. Cosmo. Nice east to west movement to keep that ball out.
And that's some speed from Damon Edwards, who gets pushed into the Buffalo bench now.
Well, 53.8 seconds remaining in that first quarter. Hold on now. Edwards getting pushed from behind. I think that was from Rory Smith. As we said, there is no love lost between these two teams. Priolo has some face mask grabbing here.
Priolo has a couple of Rock face masks.
If he had more hands, I'm sure he'd grab some more. There's Stainhouse in on it. Hold on now. We got at least 2 players on the ground, kind of a third there. And we saw a couple years ago, Stamper, I forget who the players were, but it was at one of the lines, and they rolled. They were fighting and rolled into the back of the arena.
Yeah.
And you see Steve Priolo getting up. He's fired up. Rob Marshall as well, so we'll try to sort out these slew of penalties.
You know, I was about to say, just before that happened, that we haven't seen the kind of energy from Buffalo that I was really expecting them to come out with.
Yeah. And then Cipriolo grabs 2 Toronto Rock players by the cages and gives them a shake.
Yeah. So Priolo off to the box and Rob Marshall off the box. Look at this speed by Damon Edwards.
Yeah.
That's Dane Smith chasing him. And Smith is fast. Here you can see Priolo helping Edwards into the Buffalo bench, and then gets upset that he's in there.
Yeah, after getting knocked over. And then the tempers really started to flare.
Now we saw Nick Diachenko involved for Toronto, Rob Marshall obviously, as well as Edwards.
Marshall's fired up.
Really looks like just Priolo and Marshall who are going. Although a second Toronto player, Hostrauser's come over and he's the in-home.
Right.
So we'll see if...
Maybe an unsportsmanlike, maybe late game, who knows.
Williams and Chapman over there to find out exactly what the information is.
53.8 seconds to go in the first quarter. Shots 15-10 in favor of the Toronto Rock. Buffalo Bandits winning both of the matchups earlier this season. This is the third and final meetup between the clubs. 12-10 on both occasions. And yeah, we've seen some brawls over the years between these two teams.
Even in preseason games.
Yes. Wasn't there like 30 suspensions or penalty guys with penalties, something like that?
There
in
were
the
a lot of.
It was huge.
Yeah, it was a mess. That was back in the days when Patty Campbell was playing.
I was going to say Pat Campbell was in on it.
Yeah, it was the cannonball trail of equipment from one end of the floor to the other.
Yeah.
Patty Campbell, of course, the former goaltender with the Rock, now the Rock goaltending coach, and one of the great guys in the game. I mean, you can't find a nicer guy. And but he certainly liked to get in. If there was a fight, he didn't want to miss it.
No. And it almost doesn't seem right if there isn't one fight or big skirmish between these two teams, is it?
Oh, it just seems natural when they're involved.
Fans travel well. Buffalo Bandits, Bandit Land. One of the better crowds in the NLL.
Yeah.
Them in Colorado, I think you can probably say 1-2 as far as overall attendance and just pure fandom, loving this NLL product.
Yeah, and the Bandit Land has been a great place for people to watch games for a long time. Of course, Colorado, they have some pretty vociferous fans too. I think from the players I've talked to, Colorado may not have quite the animation that the Bandit Land fans have at this point. Buffalo fans really get into their game.
Oh, yeah. And a nice crowd here tonight at the Air Canada Centre as well on a Good Friday. Hope everyone is having a good Easter weekend so far. And stay tuned to the Lacrosse Network all weekend long. It's a busy one around the NLL.
There's a lot going on, some pretty important games.
Yeah.
Certainly for Colorado and Vancouver.
Really, there's one more playoff spot to clinch, and it's between Colorado and Vancouver in the West. Edmonton has won it all, 15-1. They're guaranteed to have the best record. Calgary's clinched. In the East, Rochester's won the Eastern Division. Buffalo and Toronto, still some jockeying for position if the Rock win out and the Buffalo lose out.
They're still trying to explaining things to Colin Doyle.
Still trying to sort out All of these penalties.
We saw Sean Williams flashing 5 fingers at his bench, and Sandy Chapman doing the same to his bench. So we assume what they're saying is that they're fighting penalties going to Priolo and Marshall, and they'll still be 5-on-5. Each team does have 5 players on the floor at this point.
And so one player we haven't talked a whole lot about tonight, Stephen, for the Bandits has been Dane Smith. 54 points, second on the team in points, and has had a quiet first quarter, but that's another one of those guys who can really turn it up at any time, isn't it?
He can, and Toronto's done a good job of taking away the transition chances. Dane Smith playing primarily out the back door this year for Buffalo.
Yep.
He will join the power play, but he scored some ridiculous amounts of points early in the season coming out of the back end. He will stay up and play offense once in a while, but he has been such a huge performer for them. But it probably wasn't realistic. You see a little shoving between Stainhouse.
Yeah. Still not over.
And Gamble down low. Now Stainhouse comes up from behind forward, but it wasn't probably realistic for him to keep scoring at the pace he was coming out of the back door.
So 10-minute misconduct to Priolo, as well as a elbowing. And the Rock got a 10-minute misconduct as well. When it's all said and done, it's still 5-on-5. And hold on now. Looks like we're going to have another penalty. And walking over is Mark Stainhouse. And he's still chirping. He better be careful. These officials aren't messing around to try to keep control of this one.
And that's just not a good penalty to take. That's just letting your frustration boil over.
Yeah.
And I had Steve Dietrich, the Bandits GM, on Box Beat this week on NLL Radio. And that's one of the things he talked about. They've been taking those old Bandits penalties that have hurt them so much in the past.
So Toronto on a power play. 40 seconds left in the first quarter. Rob Hellier kicked it back to Doyle. Doyle receives. Went for the swing and a miss to Kevin Ross. Nicely broken up by the Bandits. To the point. Doyle, and just running out of real estate. He was on the baseline with Kevin Ross. Hellier waits, tiptoeing along that crease. Scars on the power play. Cosmo shoves his net aside and kicks the ball out. In frustration, Stefan LeBlanc, and Cosmo's hot right now.
Yeah, and that's just a beautiful little play. Hellier to LeBlanc. LeBlanc pretty unstoppable from in tight. Again, he's done it from 3 different spots on the floor so far. Yeah. 2 goals, and the one that he rang off the post that came out to Casey Behrens to set up another goal. And LeBlanc really feeling it tonight.
41st goal, and Cosmo obviously not happy. And it looks like Cosmo's having one of those convenient equipment checks to try to
timeout as he will tape up his toe cap
to try to slow things down a little bit. A veteran move. The Rock up by 3 right now. Rob Hellier and Colin Doyle with the helpers on that goal.
Again, Rob Hellier playing such a vital role here with Garrett Billings out.
Sure.
And that is such a nice pass. The little touch pass. A la Josh Sanderson, the close pass. It looked very much like one he would throw.
Great comparison. Thornbert in the face-off circle with Merrill. Bandits win it again. And I know the Rock don't put a whole lot of emphasis on the face-off stamper, but man, it's so nice to be able to start a drive after a goal almost all the time, isn't it?
It is. It does help.
Long pass, one empty net, long bounce. Cosmo was back there, 2 seconds left. Buffalo was going for the extra man, and that will bring an end to a wild first quarter. The Toronto Rock lead at 5-2 up on the Buffalo Bandits. Don't go anywhere. I don't think we've seen the end of the physicality. You're watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Evans, flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon into the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again! It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games, live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
Tonight is the final regular season home game for the Toronto Rock. The Rock are headed to the playoffs and are in the mix to potentially host playoff games here at Air Canada Centre. Information regarding playoff dates and tickets will be announced soon. For more information, visit torontorock.com.
Welcome back to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. 5-2 the score. Andy McNamara alongside Stephen Stamp. A good one here, Stephen, and we were just thinking about, and you mentioned just before that roll-around brawl with Stephen Priolo, how the Bandits lacked a little bit of energy. Well, they tried to change that right there, and we'll see if that can carry over into the second quarter.
It'll be interesting to see, because the Bandits, it's those penalties will kill you. The one like Mark Stainhouse took, where you've got some energy going, everyone's kind of pumped up, and then a few seconds later you go short, put your team short-handed, and they've got to avoid that kind of thing, and especially now that they're trailing.
Well, and we saw, too, Anthony Cosmo, after that goal, flip his net aside and kick the ball out. And you don't want your goaltender getting too emotional. Going over the top, Casey Behrens looking for that hat trick. Couldn't connect. And galloping down the floor, Dane Smith, we mentioned, keep an eye on him. Fakes the pass, holds up the Toronto defenders, went for the bouncer to Ryan Benesh. Couldn't corral it in. Bandits coming out strong in this second quarter. Stephen LeBlanc with a pair of goals, as does Behrens have, and Rob Hellier the other goal for Toronto. Trying to force his way in. Nick Rose, Jesse Gamble draped all over Ryan Benesh.
And he's going to get a penalty for it.
I was going to say Benesh wanted to call a little bit of a delayed one. And Anthony Cosmo to the bench. Extra attacker on for the Bandits. 1 minute has expired in this second quarter. Stainhouse. Joe Resiteritz getting it behind the net. And as the net comes off, Jesse Gamble will go to the box.
And Gamble saw Resiteritz heading for the wraparound attempt, and there was no way he was going to take a penalty and then let Resiteritz score on the dunk while they had the extra attacker out. So he came in and really leveled Resiteritz as he tried to hit that one.
And now we'll get a little bit of a rest. Toronto leading after one quarter, 5-4 this season. We've seen the Rock go on their struggles. The Buffalo Bandits on a 5-game losing streak after winning 8 of their first 10. Bandits cycling the ball well around the perimeter. And scores on the power play. The veteran, John Tavares. The legend makes it 5-3.
Tavares has done this so many times. Just takes any time he can get a step into the shot. He is so difficult to stop. He is one of the toughest guys to read in the National Lacrosse League when he's shooting. Takes that nice over-the-top shot. He can go anywhere with it, and he makes no mistake on this one.
Tavares' 22nd goal of the season, 42nd point. So the ageless wonder continues to get it done for these Buffalo Bandits. Over the top, Stainhouse turned back. Buffalo gets the ball right back. And Ryan Benesh trying for a swim move of his own, gets by Edwards and hugging that post, not tight enough though. Nick Rose slid over. I don't know where the ball found any room. Let's have a look.
Aaron Wilson takes the shovel pass and actually goes between the legs, it looks like, of Nick Rose on that one. We should get a better look on this one.
Yeah,
that right. Is a nice shot by Aaron Wilson. He is
with no
room at all, and realizes that Rose is snugged up against the post, so he goes right down between the feet, and Rose in that case, probably needed to keep the stick down, but when you're coming across, the first thing you got to get is the stick there to stop the shot, and then he tried to follow with the legs, and Wilson, that is a fantastic shot.
So all of a sudden, the Buffalo Bandits only trail by 1 coming into the second quarter, all full of fire, coming off of that Steve Priolo escalation on a couple big hits and rattling some cages. Buffalo still off the iron. And that will be, I thought that was going to be an over and back.
It's off the post, so it's fresh 30.
Touch to Toronto. And we're going to have another penalty coming to the Toronto Rock. Anthony Cosmo to the bench, extra attacker on. Is that too many men? And now we're getting Ryan Benesh all fired up.
Yeah, it looks like the Bandits getting called for too many men. With Cosmo going off to the bench, they got a 6th attacker on.
Sandy Chapman in the Toronto penalty box. Colin Doyle getting an explanation for the Rock. So it looked like a hold to Chapman and a too many men for the Bandits.
So Mitch Jones will make his way over. He's the in-home player.
12:27 remaining in the opening half. Bandits storming back. Mitch Jones has one of the Buffalo goals tonight. Buffalo with possession to start off. Benesh, crisp pass to the right wing. Buffalo trying to set things up. Finds Resetaritz in the slot. Dumps it back to the line. Sean Williams fakes it, blind pass, finds Stainhouse. Stainhouse backpedaling. Can't find a look. Trying to get a pick. Tavares couldn't set it. Whoa! Undressed Edwards. Stainhouse stone cold by Nick Rose. The Toronto Rock defense all went to the left, and Stainhouse was left all alone. Huge save by Nick Rose.
Unbelievable. Stainhouse went to shoot and then realized he had lots of time. Came
hold
in
on.
and started to throw a couple of fakes.
The Rock now getting what almost seems like their first offensive drive of the quarter. It's been all Buffalo, high and wide. That offering by Casey Behrens. Can't find that third goal. Looking for that hat trick. Rob Hellier, loose ball scramble. Derek Sutton's on that. Shovel to Dane Smith. Takes that ground ball. 2-on-1 in the back. Over the top. Superman dive. And Nick Rose makes another stop. Crease violation. Toronto still up by 1. And Nick Rose has looked pretty darn good tonight, Stamper.
He's done a very good job. Even, I mean, you look at that last goal, he was right over on the post. He took a great shot by Wilson to get it in. Rose, looking like the Rose that was starting back when he was still the starter.
Yeah, Colin Doyle took an elbow to the chops. And coming back the other way, Mitch Wild, left wing, stutter step. Mitch Wild waits for reinforcements. Over the top, switches positions with Wilson. Wilson can't find a lane, went back door, spinning, firing. Mitch Wild, he was turned the other way, otherwise he would have been all alone. Couldn't get a quality scoring chance. Ryan Benesh went for a screen shovel, no good.
Not a bad little offensive shift for the big defender Mitch Wild, though.
There's Jesse Gamble. Getting shoved aside. He wanted a holding call, his arm was caught up, not going to get it. Jesse Gamble being pushed around, remains on the floor. Sent to the weak side, Kevin Ross. Went behind him, rattled off the glass. Ross, I don't know if he can find it yet. Dane Smith went to pick it up. Now Rory Smith, still free. Battling for the ball here on the near boards. Bounce pass and trying to make that 8-second violation. And it will be. You have to get the ball over center in 8 seconds. Toronto forcing that infraction, and the Rock have the ball back.
Some nice ball movement by the Bandits. Just ran out of time to get the ball over center.
Stephen LeBlanc going from right to left, trying to get Cosmo moving east-west. Here's Watt.
It's 13 saves now for Anthony Cosmo, just 5 away from the all-time single-season saves record.
Currently held by Matt Vince of the Rochester Nighthawks. Stainhouse receives. Sean Williams tries to clear a lane. Stainhouse waits. Clicks on the baseline and scores. One touch. Count it. That was gorgeous.
Oh, Sean Williams just putting it home. Watch how little movement. He does not catch this ball. It's a total tennis racket play as he just, as you said, swats it home. Just like that, it's all tied up.
All tied up at 5 Brand new ball game right here. 9:22 to go in the half.
Shows you that quickness and accuracy are just as important as power when you're shooting from in close.
Williams' 11th goal of the season. Face off again, taken by the Buffalo Bandits. And Thornburg coming in 4th overall in loose balls in the National Lacrosse League. 159. Jeff Snyder once again leading the way for the Calgary Roughnecks, best in the business. Stainhouse on the left wing. Stainhouse trying to put on a burst, stopped by Gamble, pushed back and hacked a little bit. Stainhouse backing his way through, 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Stainhouse over the top! Did that hit the post? That might have gone right by him. Went for behind the back pass intended for Wilson. Fooled everyone, including his teammate from Stainhouse. And with that, we'll take the media timeout. All tied up at 5. The Rock had a 3-goal lead. First ball game here, folks. You're watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network.
This is Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse. Get your tickets now, starting at just $28, or your McDonald's Family 4-pack for just $89. Don't miss the hard-hitting, high-scoring action this season.
Score! Stainhouse loses check, takes a shot, he scores!
Tickets are available at the First Niagara Center box office, online at bandits.com, or by phone at 1-888-467-2273. See you in Banditland.
Tickets today to lock in the best seats at unbeatable prices. Visit ColoradoMammoth.com.
The Bandits return home to host the Rochester Nighthawks in their regular season home finale next Saturday, April 26th at 7:30 p.m. If the Bandits win tonight or tomorrow night at Rochester, they will also host the first-round playoff game against Toronto on the weekend of May 3rd. For tickets, visit bandits.com. Welcome back to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. You can follow us on Twitter at AndyMC81, at StampLAX. Tied game here, the Rock and the Bandits at 5. 8:47 remaining in the opening half. And Stamper, the Bandits on a 3-goal run. Toronto started this quarter up 5-2.
Yeah, you know, it's been a lot of the time in the third quarter where Toronto's run into trouble, but it's coming to get them early, and they need to turn it around pretty quickly.
Toronto in their home white, blue, and red uniforms. Kevin Ross with the swat. One touch. Going back the other way. We saw Sean Williams do it. Kevin Ross says, hey, how about me? Number 71, getting the start in place of the ill Josh Sanderson.
Kevin Ross, who has had some pretty big games in his career, and he shows you that he can handle the stick as well. That's a beautiful touch goal. His first of the season, first with the Rock, and that's got to be a nice monkey off his back.
Absolutely.
Get one under his belt.
So 6-5 to score. So a couple of lead changes already tonight.
Here's the look. It's Hellier again.
Wow.
Passes it across, and that one, Cosmo wasn't right on the post. You can see the little gap between his leg and the post.
And Ross found it on the one touch. Ross again. Puts it to the left wing. Looking, trying to get some space right on Hellier over the top. Got hit hard. Hellier's still down as Cosmo made the save. Slow to get up. He is now and jogs to the bench. Maybe just had the wind knocked out of him for a moment. There's Dane Smith, number 92, second in Bandits scoring. Bandits wearing their smart visiting black and orange uniforms. Two out to handle for Benesh. Sandy Chapman all over him. Bandits having to move the ball quickly. Rock defenders made it quite difficult. Stainhouse in the neutral zone. 2 seconds on the shot clock, and they just have to dump it to the corner.
Tremendous defense by the Rock, keeping everyone outside, not letting anyone get a good look to receive a pass. That is the hardest part, is not letting guys get the pass as they're trying to cut open.
Making that pass was Cam Woods, the once retired, now back for the Toronto Rock. Injuries to Chris White. He's out for the year. Cosmo with a shoulder stop for the Rock, forced Woods back. And the absence of Garrett Billings. Behind LeBlanc from the captain, Colin Doyle. And now here's a 3-on-1 for the moment. Rock charging back. And Rose cut down the angle. Nice stop in the Rock. We're in a track meet now. Jesse Gamble backpedaling his way in.
Smart decision by Gamble to just pull that one out. Meanwhile, Mitch Wild giving Casey Behrens a really rough ride down in the corner.
Casey Behrens, snap pass, clicks with Kevin Ross. Ross on the right wing. Ross tiptoeing along that crease. It's crease violation. He was down. Ross being shoved by Rory and Dane Smith.
And Rory Smith a little upset that Kevin Ross didn't get a penalty for giving him a shove in the face, putting his helmet back. That's the kind of penalty that Rory Smith would generally get called for.
Yeah.
He doesn't like the inequity.
The skip pass. Rose with the left pad save. Coming out for the Rock. Sandy Chapman rumbling up the floor. Sandy Chapman has Greer to his right. Decides to pull it back. Chapman, we've seen him jump into the offense over the last 3-4 weeks a lot more. LeBlanc over the top hurl. And Cosmo squeezes those pads together to keep it 6-5 for Toronto.
And Rory Smith arguing for another call, is this time Sandy Chapman, he felt, got his stick up under his bucket.
Stainhouse one-handing it. Watch out for Cam Woods on him. Stainhouse gets pushed right in. Woods inadvertently gave Stainhouse a nice little shove into a wide open lane. Crease violation, so no harm done.
Nick Rose has been money against Mark Stainhouse tonight in a few occasions, having him right on top of him.
He's held him off the goal scoring sheet so far. Colin Doyle looking for a lane, finds Behrens, backdoor. Behrens being draped, got a little bit of a bouncer. And Derek Sutton's almost gave him a judo flip there. Fresh 30 for the Rock. Kevin Ross directing traffic, decides to come outside. And Nick Rose coming out of the net. Extra attacker on for Toronto. Penalty coming to the Buffalo Bandits. Colin Doyle now waits. 6 on the shot clock. Gonna have to hurry. But low, wound up and fired. Didn't fool Cosmo.
Bandits got a bit of a break because nobody saw Sandy Chapman coming in off the bench, the late cutter, the 6th attacker. And he could easily have had a shot naked on top of Anthony Cosmo. It's going to be a holding the stick call.
And I don't think Chad Culp's too happy with that. Don't read lips.
But I'll tell you, he got away with a call earlier in the game where he got beat by his man, tugged a hold of the shoulder. So it's might be a cumulative call.
We have some shoving. Colin Doyle being behind the play with Dane Smith. They're pushing and shoving right from Cosmo. Doyle breaking free. LeBlanc set up in the high post. Kevin Ross now heads to set a pick. There's Doyle. Pass off. Went for another one touch that Ross scored earlier on. Couldn't connect there.
What a great play by Rory Smith to get his stick onto Ross's stick. Such
back
a quick
to the point.
reaction.
And the captain went high. Rock still trying for that screen over the top. Not really working. And what a save from an over and back by Hellier. And nearly scored 30-second shot clock violation, LeBlanc. But there's that extra effort by Rob Hellier.
Yeah.
Doing it all.
And I just want to give Rory Smith a bit more credit there because people don't realize how good a defender he is with his stick and with his footwork. And that was a great awareness play to be able to get over there and get his stick on Ross's.
Minute 10 to kill for the Buffalo Bandits. They'll look to eat up as much of this shot clock as possible. 7 seconds left on it. Behind the back pass by Williams. Couldn't find Restaterets. 4 minutes even remaining in the half. Colin Doyle. 48 seconds left on the power play. Rock pinching in. LeBlanc head fake. Doyle set up low. Kick save and a nice job by Cosmo to not give up a rebound, especially with Doyle just hanging on the doorstep. Ball flutters into the far corner. And Rock come up with it. 30 seconds on the power play for Toronto. Cam Woods now.
There's been so much going on. We did miss it. Anthony Cosmo is the all-time single-season save holder.
Congratulations to Anthony Cosmo. Great season and a tremendous career as well. Anthony Cosmo. He's got a lot of work. Doyle unleashed a cannon. And LeBlanc off the rebound from the back. Cosmo starting to stand on his head and heating up. Back to even strength. Culp on the floor. Rattles off the glass. Toronto still with control. Set with LeBlanc. Had a one-on-one matchup. Sidearm attempt blocked. Very, very close. Casey Behrens can't buy that third goal. He's trying.
He certainly had plenty of opportunities.
2:37 left in the half. And what a first half of lacrosse it has been. Bandits whipping the ball around the outside. There's Wilson trying to scamper in, holds up. Scoots his way back and dumps it. Resetarits with a shoulder, weak side, had some space. And John Tavares didn't see anything he liked. Might have been better off shooting it a little bit earlier. But the score is 6-5. We'll take the media timeout. 2:14 to go in the half. Rock and Bandits. You're watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network.
Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Evans, flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon into the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again! It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games, live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
The best way to get ready for the weekend's action is by watching NLL Live every Thursday night on the Lacrosse Network. Catch the show live at 8 Eastern or on demand anytime at the home of the Lacrosse Network at youtube.com/TLN. Welcome back to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. The score, 6-5, the Toronto Rock up on the Buffalo Bandits. Anthony Cosmo really starting to heat up in the Buffalo net, and Nick Rose making his return to goal for Toronto after being relieved of his duties by Brandon Miller for a couple, has responded well and has been solid.
Yeah, both goaltenders playing well, turning aside most of the shots they need to. And we've seen a little run by each team. Toronto pulling out ahead 5-2. The Bandits come back and tie it up, and it's exactly the type of game that we expected between these two longtime rivals.
Anthony Cosmo, a few minutes ago, setting the all-time single-season save record previously held by Matt Vince of the Rochester Nighthawks. So congratulations to Anthony Cosmo. What a year he has had. Bandits, off to that hot start in the year. New coach Troy Cordingley changing at the guard there in Buffalo. Won 8 of their first 10 and have dropped their last 5. Haven't won since March 15th versus Colorado. Rock with possession here. 2 minutes even to go in the half. LeBlanc on the right wing. Clicks with Diachenko. Diachenko over the top. Went for a bouncer. Right position. Cosmo saw it all the way.
Nice job by Cosmo to reach out and snag that one from among a bunch of feet and get it to himself.
Stainhouse with Smith all alone. I don't know how Rose stopped that. Looked like Smith had him beat. Dane Smith retrieves it, moves it to the veteran John Tavares. Buffalo Resetarits can't find anything. He's on a knee. Resetarits, that's a dangerous hit. Had his knees buckled back. You can pop a kneecap like that. Damon Edwards delivered it. Hostrauser on the right side. 20 on the shot clock for the Rock. Hostrauser, haven't seen him a whole lot tonight. There's Rob Hellier being pushed back. we have seen a lot of number 10, and what a game and season he has had. Rob Hellier still with control. Finds Stephen LeBlanc, sidesteps his way. Trying to spin. Nice pick set by the captain. Last minute of play in the half. There's Doyle, sidearm to Cosmo, not allowing a rebound with Hellier knocking on the door.
Hellier with a goal and 4 assists already in this game.
Coming off of an 8-point performance last week in the win over Philadelphia, where the Rock clinched a playoff berth. Bouncer into Nick Rose. 40 seconds remaining in the half. There's Gamble. Jesse Gamble in the neutral zone. Stephen LeBlanc waiting. 17 on the shot clock. Toronto Rock waiting for the last few seconds to set up most likely their last play of the second quarter. Stephen LeBlanc receives, shuffles, sidesteps that swim move again. A dump pass, was looking for somebody to be on the edge of the crease. Nobody home though. Another shot, and LeBlanc collided with his teammate. And we have a timeout for Toronto with 9 seconds remaining.
Big play by the Rock to get that loose ball off the shot. Get them possession so they can take the timeout and set up for our final shot of the quarter.
So the shot clock is dead. The Rock leading 6-5.
Nick Rose will be on the bench.
Yeah, 31-24 in favor of Toronto. Extra attacker on for the Rock.
Anthony Cosmo with 25 saves so far here in the first half. And
needed 18.
Yeah, and he has been very, very good. He's made some tremendous saves for them.
And he's really come on strong in that second quarter, Stamper. You could feel him heating up, getting into a groove. And when you have a goaltender like Anthony Cosmo with the amount of shots he's faced, first in the NLL in save percentage at .804, third in goals against average, you don't want that to happen for the Toronto Rock. Good news for Toronto, though. Nick Rose has been tremendous as well during this first half.
He has. And Cosmo an .806 save percentage tonight, right in line with what he's done for the whole season. So he is doing what he's done all year for these Buffalo Bandits.
6 seconds. Doyle gives it. And Casey Behrens, 2 seconds left, has to do something. He is tied up perfectly by Andrew Watt. Couldn't get anywhere. Tremendous smothering effort by Andrew Watt, as some words are exchanged and some Bandits players come onto the floor just to make sure their teammates have any backup they might need. So Stamper, before we take the break, thought on the first half. We saw Toronto go up by 3 goals. Buffalo stormed back. Excellent goaltending on both sides.
Yep.
And for the Rock, again, you see Rob Hellier continuing to step up in the absence of Garrett Billings.
Hellier playing very well now, of course, and looking really good. And the one thing I think we've seen is the intensity of this game step up.
Yeah.
And a lot of it started with that Priolo and
at the end of the first
and Marshall tussle.
Yep.
And it's definitely looking like these teams know they're in a game. The Bandits, having been outshot 31-24, have to feel fairly good about being just 1 goal down. I think the Rock have had some pretty good chances, and Buffalo's gonna come out of here knowing that Cosmo is having a good game, and I would expect the Bandits to come out with some pretty good energy in the third quarter,
just like they did in the second when leading at the half this season. The Rock are 5-3. We're gonna take the break. Come back in about 10 minutes to tee up the second half for you. After 2 quarters of play, the Toronto Rock lead the Buffalo Bandits 6-5. You're watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Kevin Crowley. That's what he can do out of nowhere. Pops behind the back beauty, and we're all tied up at 8.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Evans, flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon into the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again. It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games, live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
This is Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse. Get your tickets now, starting at just $28, or your McDonald's Family 4-pack for just $89. Don't miss the hard-hitting, high-scoring action this season.
Score! Stenhouse loses check, takes a shot, he scores!
Tickets are available at the First Niagara Center box office, online at bandits.com, or by phone at 1-888-467-2273. See you in Banditland.
Team season tickets today to lock in the best seats at unbeatable prices. Visit ColoradoMammoth.com.
NLL Radio offers the best online radio coverage of the National Lacrosse League. Listen on your smartphone. Just download the popular TuneIn Radio app and find NLL Radio. Hear the latest episode of every show anytime on your phone. For more information, visit NLL.com/radio. Welcome back to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. I'm Andy McNamara. The Rock lead the Buffalo Bandits 6-5 when leading this season. After 2 quarters of play, the Rock are 5-3. We've seen a couple of lead changes tonight. The Rock were up at 1.5-2. Bandits went on a run, tied her up at 5. But really, for the Toronto Rock, it's been all about 2 men, Stephen LeBlanc and Rob Hellier. Casey Behrens also has a couple goals, but LeBlanc's dominance with that swim move, that over-the-top hand movement to get by defenders, has been near unstoppable. And LeBlanc, 1 goal, 4 assists, has been money, continuing to step up in the absence of Garrett Billings. Kevin Ross, the other goal scorer for the Toronto Rock. For the Bandits, the scoring looks like this. Aaron Wilson, the legend John Tavares, he scored on the power play. Ryan Benesh, Benny and the Jets, Mitch Jones, and Sean Williams. The goaltending, Steven Stamp back with me. Stamper, the goaltending, as we mentioned before the break, phenomenal. Anthony Cosmo coming on really strong near the halfway point of that second quarter. If he can carry that over and the Buffalo Bandits can get a couple, the Rock could be in some trouble, although give full credit to Nick Rose so far.
Yeah, Nick Rose has been good. I think one thing that we've seen several times this season is the Toronto Rock struggling early in third quarters. And I expect Buffalo to come out with a lot of intensity. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Bandits pop a few goals and get a lot of pressure on and maybe push a bit of a lead out. And then the thing is, Buffalo's been inconsistent through their stretch.
Sure.
The Rock are a team that will never give up when they've got leaders like Colin Doyle and Rob Hellier playing so well. And Steph LeBlanc, I think they'll come right back as well. I think it's going to be a real battle down to the end.
Well, the Buffalo Bandits, we saw at the end of the first quarter, Steve Priolo took on almost the entire Toronto Rock bench and caused a spark that carried over into that second quarter, which led to that 3-goal run to tie up the game. Then things backed off a little bit. The Bandits, of course, riding a 5-game losing streak after starting the year winning 8 of their last 10 with at that time new head coach Troy Cordingley. The interesting part, though, Stamper, is we've seen the same Bandits collapse this year that we saw under the old regime last season.
We have, and it's fascinating. It shows that you can't put everything on Darius Kilgore. He was certainly by the end a frustrated coach, having trouble getting through to his team. He felt like the number of times we heard him say, I don't know what else to tell them.
When a coach says that, you're done.
Yeah, and he was getting very frustrated by the end of the year. And Troy Cordingley is a guy who will let his team know exactly what he thinks, what they're doing, just like Darius Kilgore did. And it is interesting to see that the Bandits have struggled in a losing streak this season when they looked so good in those first 10 games, coming out 8-2, and it wasn't just that they were 8-2, although that's a big part of it, but they looked like they were getting consistent, solid efforts from all over the floor.
Absolutely. And we see the huddle up right now. Toronto Rock in their home white, blue, and red uniforms. It's a big one here. You see Stephen LeBlanc, his body movements, pumping his fists, getting ready. On the line tonight, this is an East Division semifinal preview of the playoffs, but if the Rock win tonight and win out, and the Bandits lose this evening and don't win another game, then Toronto can get that first series one-and-done matchup right here at the Air Canada Centre. Seems somewhat unlikely, Stamper, but the Bandits do play the Rochester Nighthawks twice, and then the wild card that are the Minnesota Swarm, who can come up and bite you or completely fall flat. Action back underway. Bandits in their visiting black and orange uniforms. Toronto ball here to start this second half. 6-5 the score. Rob Hellier, turn on the Jets, weaving his way through. Sidesteps back. Rob Hellier, all full of fire. Casey Behrens puts it to the right wing. Over the top, swatted down. Stephen LeBlanc's offering, no good. Losing his stick for a moment was Dane Smith. Put to the weak side. There's Kevin Ross. He has one tonight. Had a nice one-time swat, and that is definitely a crease violation. He was about 3 feet in when he took the shot on Anthony Cosmo. Congratulations, of course, to Anthony Cosmo for becoming the single-season save record holder tonight. Need 18 saves to do it and reach that mark in the second quarter. Resetaritz was on that baseline, and a shot got away by Ryan Benesh. It was a crease violation anyway. Here's Bill Hostrauser, brought over earlier this season from the Vancouver Stealth. It was funny, Stamper, we saw Hostrauser get in a fight with the Toronto Rock member during that Vancouver game, and then the next week he was a member.
There you go.
Guess they like what they saw. He's been a nice contributor as well.
Yes, he's a solid defensive man, defensive player with some grit, as we've seen here.
Went for a swing. Again, going back to Kevin Ross, trying to recapture that magic on that one goal in the second quarter. Rob Hellier went shoulder side as the shot clock was expiring. Bandits will start up this drive.
Those long loping strides of Mitch Wild getting it to mid-floor.
Yeah, it was gazelle-like, wasn't it?
It was.
Ryan Benesh, what a contributor he's been coming over from the Minnesota Wild. Somebody lost a stick. It was Resetaritz, picked it back up. Loose ball scramble. Pat Merrill. And now there's the rookie, Ethan O'Connor. Had a breakaway for a moment. Come back on the floor. Had Edwards. Went for a bouncer right in front of Cosmo. Put a foot too far in front and went sailing about 10 rows back into the Golds.
And that looked very dangerous for the Bandits. 4 Toronto Rock players steaming down on just one defender coming off the bench for Buffalo.
Just over 2 minutes have gone by in this third quarter. Nice stop by Nick Rose on his right side. Scott Johnson up the floor. Hostrauser gets rid of it. LeBlanc. Now Hostrauser and Johnson will head out and wait for the offense to come on. 14 seconds on the shot clock. Taking it in stride off the bounce. Diachenko gives it to the captain on the right wing. Head fake! And Cosmo saw just enough of it. Was going 5-hole. Knuckled on him for a moment.
Mitch Jones with the ball, and he was out on defense again. He's been caught out there a few times on defense.
Has a goal tonight. Went for a part screen. Chapman was all over Dane Smith. Harmlessly went over the shoulder of Nick Rose. Trying to one-hand his way through. And Benesh tripped on the carpet. Make that John Tavares, sorry. It's Jones again. Jones backpedaling his way. Kicks outside the line. 15 left on the shot clock. Far out. And a glove save by Nick Rose.
And that's one thing, that sidearm shot by Dane Smith is something Steve Dietrich told me on Boxelbeat this week, that he would love to see him shoot over the top more, get away from that sidearm shot a little bit, because goalies are starting to get used to it.
Stephen LeBlanc surging in. Ball ricochets off the glass. Taken on a high hop by Rob Hellier. Clicks on the right side with Kevin Ross. Rests on the baseline. Jumps, little hop step. Stopped by Cosmo.
Bandits really responding well to the physical attempts of the Rock to get in towards the net. They're holding them up well and forcing them into the crease, not really allowing a lot of shots on those drives.
Williams was setting up in the high post. Left wing, there's Brock. Sent to Benesh. Benesh ducks under the hit of Greer. Sean Williams had a little bit of space. Went for the one touch to Aaron Wilson. He was slammed by Johnston. There's Benesh again on Hostrauser. Shot wild and flailing. Shot clock violation. And Brock was turned inside out by Bill Greer. 10:54 remaining in the third quarter. Bill Greer fluttered that ball up. Casey Bierns corralled it. There's Rob Hellier becoming quite the leader, even more so now with Garrett Billings out. We have a penalty coming to the Buffalo Bandits. Nick Rose races to the bench. Extra attacker on for Toronto. It's Kevin Ross. Colin Doyle now putting the play in motion. 6 seconds left on the shot clock. Put to the slot. LeBlanc doesn't see anything. 2 seconds left. Doyle's going to have to do something. Went for a midsection pass. Was tied up by Priolo. Was Kevin Ross. Ball swatted away, and we'll see what the call is.
We're at holding on Rory Smith. It's down low on the... as they were trying to just keep the Rock away from getting the pass into the middle.
We'll have a look.
This is the pass right at the end of the shot clock for the Rock, as they were unable to get a chance with the extra attacker.
Right in that midsection. Hellier. He waits, put it right on the doorstep of Cosmo. The captain unable to convert. Quick outlet pass to Brock. 6-5 the score for the Toronto Rock. Just over 5 minutes has expired in this third frame. There's Mitch Jones. Has a goal tonight. Puts with Jones. Into the high post. Resich Harris let loose a cannon shot. And Rose with a beautiful save. Here's Merrill. Minute 10 to go on the power play for Toronto on the minor. Rory Smith. In the box for holding. Captain Colin Doyle. Fake pass. And Hellier had a lot of room. His shot placement was a little bit off, though, and right into the face mask. I believe that's Brock. Coming back the other way is Watt. Stick save, shoulder side.
And David Brock in there because Rory Smith is off. Smith is one of the main penalty killers for the Bandits. So Brock has stepped in and done a tremendous job for them in this penalty kill.
Casey Byrnes receives. 30 seconds left in the power play for Toronto. There's Stefan LeBlanc. Snap pass finds it. Toronto moving the ball well around the perimeter. Over the top. Out of wide open cage. Casey Byrnes put the bounce too far in front and went right by Cosmo. In stride and Wild shoveling it. Couldn't get anything on it. High hop. Stefan LeBlanc using that 6'2" frame to snare that pass and keep it in Toronto's possession. 4 seconds remaining, and that's going to be a power play goal.
LeBlanc, just as he's flattened by Chad Culp, who will stroll slowly over to the bench, as will Rory Smith. And the Rock not allowing a goal in the first 6 minutes and 38 seconds of the third quarter. And they get the first just before the power play expires. Stefan LeBlanc with his third of the night.
A hat trick for LeBlanc, his 42nd of the season. Now 5 back of the overall goal-scoring leader in the NLL, Dane Doby. He's at 47.
Again, that's just LeBlanc having some time and space and being able to absolutely rip the ball.
Have a look. He is plain old beats Cosmo.
Just a bit of a miscommunication by the Bandits as one player was sliding across to help out on the far side, leaving LeBlanc. Chad Culp saw that LeBlanc was left open, but by the time he was able to get there was nothing he could do.
Nick Rose got credit for the assist on that Stefan LeBlanc goal. There's Jones. 1 second left on the shot clock. They'll dump it. We're back to even strength, and that will take us to our first media timeout of the quarter. 7-5. The Rock are storming in up on the Buffalo Bandits. You're watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network.
This is Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse. Get your tickets now, starting at just $28, or your McDonald Family 4-pack for just $89. Don't miss the hard-hitting, high-scoring action this season.
Score! Stenhouse loses check, takes a shot, he scores!
Tickets are available at the First Niagara Center box office, online at bandits.com, or by phone at 1-888-467-2273. See you in Banditland.
It's today to lock in the best seats at unbeatable prices. Visit ColoradoMammoth.com.
NLL Radio offers the best online radio coverage of the National Lacrosse League. Listen on your smartphone. Just download the popular TuneIn Radio app and find NLL Radio. Hear the latest episode of every show anytime on your phone. For more information, visit NLL.com/NLL Radio. We also remind you this copyright telecast of the National Lacrosse League Incorporated may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the National Lacrosse League. Welcome back to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. The Rock leading the Buffalo Bandits 7-5. 7:49 left in the third quarter. After tonight, the Buffalo Bandits have a pair of matchups to finish the year against the two-time defending National Lacrosse League champion and East Division winners, Rochester Nighthawks. If the Rock wins, Stamper, if the Rock win the rest of the way and the Bandits lose the rest of the games, the Rock would hold that East semifinal one-and-done matchup over the May 3rd weekend.
Yeah, they finish second and get that advantage, and certainly they like this home crowd.
Good crowd tonight at the ACC. They're raucous. Oh, and being pushed aside, Priolo absolutely manhandling Kevin Ross. Ross willing his way in, using that 6'1", 205 frame to get his second of the night. That was just pure effort.
And Ross hasn't had a chance to draw into the lineup much this year, but he has shown over the seasons in both NLL and MSL lacrosse what he can do. He is a big, strong man, and he makes best use of it here to drive his way to the net. You're going to see he's got Priolo on, and Priolo, one of the best in the league, gets that half a step. And Priolo pushing him hard, but Ross using his weight to lean in. Look at this little lean, and then swings his momentum the other way. That is great body control and a beautiful goal by Kevin Ross.
Rock want more. That shot well wide by the captain, Colin Doyle. Spinning, got the rebound though. Thought Buffalo would have had that for sure. Diachenko pulling it back, 1 second on the shot clock. So Buffalo ball, and we're seeing the physicality get turned up another notch here. Priolo was all over Kevin Ross. Shots 36-29 in favor of the Rock. And there's Stainhouse. Stainhouse! We're talking about the swim move of Stephen LeBlanc. Stainhouse undressed Johnston. Sidearm whip. Got by Rose.
Stainhouse has been using the swim move for a long time, and he's a great finisher, whether he's diving or just finding a spot that he can beat the goaltender, and he is tough once he gets in alone on your goalie. Johnston just half a step behind after that great play by Mark Stainhouse, his 27th of the year.
Bandits pulled it within 2. And Buffalo coming strong again. The stick knocked free at the last moment. Nice job by Pat Merrill. That was Mitch Wild. And Buffalo, they have the ability, they have the talent to score in bunches. There's Ethan O'Connor.
Yeah, Rob Marshall doing a nice job there to hold on to the ball. As Chad Culp got a whack on the free end of his stick, and Marshall recovered very quickly. Good handwork.
We're seeing some off-the-ball shoving. Tempers starting to flare as they did at the end of the first quarter. Rob Hellier takes a punishing check, backs it off, and shot clock expires.
That was Rory Smith on Stephen LeBlanc with the pushing and shoving, and Smith giving LeBlanc absolutely no room to breathe.
Mitch Jones, Ryan Benesh on the floor. Benesh got rid of it. Receiving is Jones. Jones just inside the line. You talk about the Buffalo defense, the Rock defense not giving an inch either. Priolo now finding a lane. Priolo, a little bit of space. Edwards lost his stick. Trying to get the body in the way. And Holstrauser, what a defensive play by Billy Holstrauser. Knocked it free at the last moment.
That is a great play after Edwards went for the big hit and ran right by the man Priolo with the ball. Holstrauser had to be sharp.
Swatted away. Dane Smith now with an interception. Hellier on the way back. And Dane Smith, that veteran presence, will hold up. Wait for Jones. Jones trying to bully his way through. Can't do it. Over the top. Shoved right in the neck. Jones goes down. Buffalo retains possession, though. This is intense. Diving sidearm. Off the mark. Dane Smith, crisp pass, finds Benesh. Benesh over the sidearm, rebound over the top. Saved by Steele. Rose turns around. Rose didn't know where it was.
Bit of a lucky break for the Rock, as that one went off the post, as you mentioned. Looked like it might go off the back of Rose and back in. Just stayed a little bit wide, though.
Wow. Casey Behrens. Number 33 looking for his hat trick. His third of the night. Stephen LeBlanc got his. Here come the Bandits barreling down the floor. There's David Brock. David Brock backpedaling. Gives to Culp. Sean Williams, he has a goal tonight.
Penalty coming to the Rock.
Cosmo out, extra attacker on for the Buffalo Bandits. There's Benesh outside the line. Gives to Williams. Williams waits, sidesteps his way. Puts it right onto Rose. No screen. Saw it all of it. And we'll see who's going to the penalty box for Toronto. And while we figure that out, we're going to take our second media timeout of the quarter. 8-6 to score. Rock leading the Bandits. You're watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com. Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Evans flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon into the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again. It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
Our game is just the start of a great weekend of live action on the Lacrosse Network. Join us again tomorrow night for 3 live games starting at 7:30 Eastern as the Rochester Nighthawks host the Buffalo Bandits. Watch them all live at youtube.com/TLN at 10 Eastern. The Vancouver Stealth say hello to the Philadelphia Wings live exclusively on universalsports.com. Viewers in the U.S. can watch the game with the subscription to Universal Sports Network. If you don't currently subscribe to the channel, call your cable or satellite provider and tell them you want the Universal Sports Network. Fans in Canada can watch live at universalsports.com with no subscription needed. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp back at the ACC in Toronto. Rock leading the Bandits 8-6, 3:38 to go in the third quarter. Nick Rose with a stop, didn't see all of it. Osterhauser in the box. And a power play for the Buffalo Bandits, minute 35 to go. As Jesse Gamble, the speedster, one of the quickest in the game today, out-racing the veteran John Tavares. As good as Tavares is, he's not going to win a foot race with Gamble at this point in his career. A nice back-and-forth game here. Toronto was surging the first 5 or 6 minutes of this quarter. Now the Bandits coming right backdoor Diachenko out of nowhere from the side, and Cosmo saw enough of him to make that save.
And the Rock players were asked in a video we saw before the game here on the Jumbotron who would win a race between Jesse Gamble and Damon Edwards. And Damon Edwards got a lot of support, but I think you'd have to throw Nick Diachenko in there to really make it good.
Absolutely.
See who the fastest guy, and he showed you his quickness on that one.
Banesh with the screenshot attempt didn't fool Rose. There's Damon Edwards. You talk about the speed. He meanders his way through. Damon Edwards, coast to coast. Wow. You talk about speed and footwork. Damon Edwards makes it 9-6 Toronto.
Damon Edwards showing the speed first, and then, as you said, the footwork to cut sideways across the floor, open up some space for himself, and he tucked it behind Cosmo.
6th goal of the year for number 45.
And got another look in just a second, and you'll see just how Edwards breaks away.
And a shorthanded goal, too.
Forces Thornburg to run by him, sees the Thornburg is coming past, and just gets back around the other way. The shorthander is huge to restore the 3-goal lead for the Rock.
26 seconds left on the power play for the Buffalo Bandits. And that just missed. John Tavares, Steinhaus and Tavares, too. Great veterans. Being over and back call.
And not only are the Rock 4 for 5 on the power play, well, Buffalo just 1 for 2. Now they've got that shorthanded goal.
Yeah.
Give them an even bigger special teams edge.
Special teams huge in this one. 7 seconds left with the man advantage for Buffalo. And that will end it. Back to even strength. Osterhauser out of the box. Being shoved through the crease. Stephen LeBlanc hops right back up. Net partially knocked off by Cosmo. And a minute 50 remaining in this third quarter. Cosmo adjusting things, and play blown back in. Buffalo possession. Here's Mitch Jones. Dumps it to Benesh. Cross turf. Another errant pass, this time into the Toronto Rock bench. Coach John Lovell and Dan Ladouceur had to watch out.
The Rock players wanted the ball right away to go, but it was in the bench, and they were hoping the refs would pull one out, but they just waited for the one to be retrieved from the bench.
Minute 30 to go in the third frame. Rob Hellier in the neutral zone. Gives to Kevin Ross. Is that a nice game? Ross on the right wing, filling in for the ill Josh Sanderson, recovering from a flu, went for the screen over the top hurl. Well off the mark, and galloping down the floor, Dane Smith. Dane Smith has Rob Hellier behind him. Didn't see him, though, and Rose trickles in behind him. Rose with the initial stop. Rose, I think, wanted a crease violation call.
And he wants a challenge flag. We'll see this replay right away.
Lovell has it out of his pocket, the flag.
But no, that's good. I think what he's thinking is that Smith will watch him as he runs down the side after the shot. Does he stay out of the crease?
It looks like it.
Yeah, he appears to.
We'll have one more peek at it. Made the stop, and you look. Yeah. That goal is good, and after getting a look, Toronto head coach John Lovell decides not to use his challenge. Last minute of play in the third makes it 9-7 for the Rock. So the Buffalo Bandits hanging around, trying to break that 5-game losing streak. There's Stainhouse. Stainhouse with a dive and another diving goal. As you said, that swim move, one of the best in the business, does it again. Take a look as he gets by the veteran Cam Woods.
Keep your eye on Culp to see if he is already in the crease. He's being flattened in there by Patrick Merrill.
There's the flag, and it actually hit a Buffalo Bandit player.
It hits Stainhouse, the goal scorer.
Yeah, there he is. So that one could be getting called back.
We'll see. That's always one where a guy gets flattened from behind into the crease. You always wonder about the call, which way it's going to go.
And Steven has his trusty binoculars out. The angle we are at here in the Air Canada Centre, we can actually see the screen that the officials are reviewing. So we'll see what Stamper can tell us there. It looked close.
It's very close. It's not Stainhouse.
No.
That's the problem. It's Chad Culp getting flattened by Patrick Merrill into the crease.
And Stainhouse, another nice goal. That's how he got his first one after being denied what seemed like 4 or 5 times by Rose. He's able to get that arm up and over. We've seen Stephen LeBlanc do it so many times here at the Air Canada Centre. Stainhouse has been doing that for many a year. And when you can get that momentum, that shift on a defender and get the angle on him, makes all the difference in the world. So we'll see.
And I don't think Troy Cordingley is going to be a happy coach when this one comes out, because it looks very much like Culp was already in. Yeah, I think this one's going to be called back.
Your percentage is pretty good this year, Stamper. Let's see. And the official call, no goal. It is coming back. Sean Williams not happy, getting an explanation. But from what you can see, the right call.
Yeah, it is the right call when he's in that Culp was in the crease before the ball went in the net. And if you're not going to call the cross check or the check from behind, then it's no goal.
So the score remains 9-7. And the Rock, with 47.4 seconds to go, will try to enter the final quarter with a lead.
And how big a goal would that have been?
Wow.
And how big is it that when Rose wanted the challenge on the previous play, that John Lovell kept the flag in his pocket?
Yes, wow. Hey, that could have been a real difference maker there.
Yeah.
Stephen LeBlanc looking for one more. The baseline kicked it back out to the high post. The captain, Colin Doyle, backpedaling. Had Wild on him. Doyle, stumbling defenders. Cosmo went to a knee and then kicked out. 28 seconds left. Mitch Wild has Damon Edwards draped on him. Mitch Wild stuck in the neutral zone, going in circles. Damon Edwards scored a nice shorthanded goal during this quarter. 15 seconds to go. Game clock 1 second ahead of the shot clock. Buffalo waiting. 5 seconds left on the clock. Williams holds and waits. And Rose went right into his chest. Edwards is down. The game clock hits 0 for the third quarter. The officials will try to sort this out. We're going to take the break. It is a wild one here at the Air Canada Centre. Don't go anywhere. The Toronto Rock lead the Buffalo Bandits 9-7. You're watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Evans, flip pass. Here's a shot. Dix into the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again! It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games, live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
Tonight is the final regular season home game for the Toronto Rock. The Rock are headed to the playoffs and are in the mix to potentially host playoff games here at the Air Canada Centre. Information regarding playoff dates and tickets will be announced soon. For more information, visit TorontoRock.com. Welcome back to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. You see Michael Pinball Clemens, Toronto Argonaut legend in the Canadian Football League. As you see there in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. Had a chance to talk with him a number of times personally as part of the TSN 1050 radio crew. Great guy and quite the ambassador for the city. We have quite the matchup here. 9-7, the Toronto Rock lead the Buffalo Bandits as the final quarter gets underway. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. The Toronto Rock in their home white, blue, and red uniforms. The Bandits in their black and orange jerseys. And Stamper, this year, when leading after three quarters, the Rock are a perfect 6-0.
And that, we always talk about how it's not much of a sample size, but 6 games is a substantial number, and they have yet to have anybody come back against them.
Buffalo Bandits could be the ones to do it, though. They've already won the season series, winning the first 2 meetings, both by an identical score of 12-10. And an interesting move, Stamper, with putting Nick Rose back in net. We talked about to begin the game with Brandon Miller playing so well. To this point, seems like a good move where now if you're the Toronto Rock, you'd have to feel pretty comfortable being able to roll with either of these goaltenders.
You know, when we talked about why would you do this the way Brandon Miller has played, maybe that's exactly why, to try and get Rose a chance to show that they've got confidence in him and he has confidence, and so you can go in with either goalie and feel good about it.
Yeah. Taking in stride, Derek Sutton's crisp pass. He clicked with Wilson, stoned by Nick Rose. Scott Johnson has his pocket picked by Dane Smith. Dane Smith, stutter step, looking for a lane. A little shovel pass to Wilson. Shoulder save as he slides over to that right post.
And that's a great save. What a chance for Wilson on the pass from Dane Smith.
Really popped that shoulder over. Rob Marshall going for a stroll in the neutral zone, waiting for some reinforcements. The Rock need to win this game to keep the chance of securing second spot in the East Division. With the victory, the Rock would move to 8-7. Bandits would fall to 8-8. Bouncer, as he was falling well off the mark by Sandy Chapman into the crowd. Buffalo ball. Here's Steve Priolo. We know he can be a difference maker. He's an agitator and got the emotion rolling of the Bandits to the tune of a 3-goal run to tie things up at the beginning of the second quarter. There's Stainhouse being tackled by Edwards on the way down into the crease.
Stainhouse is furious that there's no holding call, and he's going to take it out on Damon Edwards as they head off to the bench. It's a good thing for him he didn't draw one the other way. He would have been very upset and would have heard about it from Cordingley.
Stefan LeBlanc lost the ball, courtesy of Suns. David Brock there. David Brock set his feet, wound up. Rob Hellier slammed his stick to knock it free. David Brock, one of those physical defenders. Still a loose ball scramble right to the left of Rose. Brock threw his hands in the air like he was playing soccer. No penalty.
He was pointing out that Chapman still had his stick even though Rose had let go of it. And the Rock had to throw it up the floor. They had only 1 second left to get it across center.
12:16 to go. Dane Smith. Wait! Wow, did that have some velocity on it? Rose is looking very confident. Ethan O'Connor took it. The pace getting turned up. Cam Woods, the veteran, lost it though. A turnover. Wilson. Buffalo Bandits have the ball back. Long looping pass finds Thornburn in the neutral zone. Centers up, tosses, he'll head off. Wilson clicks with Tavares. Tavares gives back to Wilson. Wilson up high, and Rose is good for it. Gives up a big rebound, but no traffic in front of him. Here come the Toronto Rock. Scott Johnston rumbling up the floor. Johnston now might do it himself. Johnston does, coast to coast. Number 88. 10th goal of the night for Toronto.
And what a huge goal for the Rock after the Bandits denied on a couple of chances, including down late in the third quarter there, a couple of good chances. The one that was reversed on in the crease call on the challenge. And just like that, instead of being a 9-8 game, it's a 10-7 game. Here you see Johnston looking his man off and just takes the shot. Priolo tried to get the stick out on him, as did Stainhouse. Neither can get to him to limit the shot. Johnston buries it.
It's a 3-on-2. Greer and Bjorn's also open, but Johnson decided to take it up the middle. Cam Woods with the assist on that goal. Now 11-13 left in the fourth. Toronto leads by 3. Stefan LeBlanc going right at Cosmo, went 5-hole. Stopped the rebound. It's a 3-on-1. And the Toronto player being swarmed by black and orange jerseys. That was Diachenko, who was gobbled up. Diachenko, 6 feet. Looked like he was about 4 feet there underneath all those black and orange jerseys.
Stainhouse looking to create something up in the offensive end.
Put to the right wing. Sent back out. Stainhouse just reaching back with his right hand to keep that ball in Bandits' possession. 5 on the shot clock. Toronto's defense turning up the heat as well. Restater's couldn't handle it. Went to Nick Rose, fresh 30 for the Rock. Hostrauser bringing it over center.
And that's exactly the kind of possession the Bandits tend to fall into when they get behind and they're having trouble. Stainhouse holding on to the ball far too long. You can see he was looking to create something, but just held the ball too long.
Kevin Ross kicked it back. Rob Hellier with the fake. Got by Culp. Sent it back to LeBlanc. LeBlanc trying to get by Brock. Can't do it. Did a little hop step Superman lead.
Shoots on his wrong side. Takes the right-handed shot.
Couldn't find it on the right side, but a nice effort nonetheless. 10 minutes even remaining in the fourth. There's Dane Smith. He waits. As Ryan Benesh on the floor. Benesh has 1 goal tonight. We know he can score in bunches. Benesh trying to set the pick now, setting up in the low post. Dane Smith crisply sends it on the left wing. And Benesh out the back door was fed by Wilson. Rose got just enough of him, and Jesse Gamble on the transition. Nice job by the Buffalo defenders getting back on the floor. Tried for a give and go with Colin Doyle. Too high for Gamble. Gamble does recover, though, and he'll head to the bench. Stefan LeBlanc with a hat trick tonight. Bjorns with 2. He's been denied what seems like 5 or 6 times by Cosmo. Try to get that 3rd goal. Did Bjorns. 30-second shot clock violation. And with that, we're going to have our first media timeout of the 4th quarter. The Rock leading by 3, 10-7 up on the Buffalo Bandits. You're watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network.
This is Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse. Get your tickets now, starting at just $28, or your McDonald Family 4-pack for just $89. Don't miss the hard-hitting, high-scoring action this season.
Score! Stainhouse loses check, takes a shot, he scores!
Tickets are available at the First Niagara Center box office, online at bandits.com, or by phone at 1-888-467-2273. See you in Banditland. This is Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse. Get your tickets now, starting at just $28, or your McDonald Family 4-pack for just $89. Don't miss the hard-hitting, high-scoring action this season.
Score! Stenhouse loses a check, takes a shot, he scores!
Tickets are available at the First Niagara Center box office, online at bandits.com, or by phone at 1-888-467-2273. See you in Banditland.
Season tickets today to lock in the best seats at unbeatable prices. Visit ColoradoMammoth.com.
The Bandits return home to host the Rochester Nighthawks in their regular season home finale next Saturday, April 26th at 7:30 p.m. If the Bandits win tonight or tomorrow night at Rochester, they will also host the first-round playoff game against Toronto on the weekend of May 3rd. For tickets, visit bandits.com. Welcome back to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. You can follow us on Twitter at AndyMC81, at StampLAX. The Toronto Rock leading by 3 up on the Buffalo Bandits, 10-7. Bandits with the ball, going from right to left on your screen. Bandits trying to break out of a 5-game losing streak and finish off this regular season on some sort of a roll. It's going to be a tough one after this. Doesn't get any easier. Back-to-back games against the Rochester Nighthawks, 2-time defending champions. And going for a little jog was Mitch Jones. Spinning, firing. Resta stopped by Nick Rose. Resta had some oomph on that ball. 8:33 to go.
We talked earlier about how well Anthony Cosmo had played with Toronto out shooting the Bandits. Well, the Bandits now out shooting the Rock, 46-41.
Bandits have looked a little bit flat in the last few minutes. Casey Byrne's getting shoved off the ball, pass too high anyway. Buffalo had a goal called back, and that seemed to deflate them a little bit. Ostrauser receives the outlet pass. Colin Doyle takes it on the right wing. Doyle trying to do it himself, went right at Cosmo, got a big rebound, but no Rock players on the right side to help him out. There's Dane Smith. Stutter step. Spinning. And goes at Rose. Rose stands tall, but a nice head fake by Smith to get a chance.
And the Bandits looking a little flat, as you said, and also a little sloppy. They've thrown a number of passes away into the bench or just into the corners, and they're really hurting themselves by not valuing the ball a little more completely.
And not there to collect the rebounds either. That's been the thing, like an effort like that by Smith and then nobody to try to capitalize on that rebound. Kevin Ross thread the needle, went right at Cosmo. That ball went right underneath his mask, it looked like, or nearly so. A key stop.
Toronto has taken a penalty, though, so the Bandits will have a power play opportunity here.
Special teams have been a big factor in this game, mostly favoring the Rock so far.
Nick Diachenko heads off with the illegal cross check.
So we'll see what the Buffalo Bandits can do here. Still plenty of time left. They went on a 3-goal run in the second quarter to tie the game up at 5. And we know they can do it. But trying to get out of this funk, 5-game losing streak after winning 8 of their first 10. Whoa, and that hit iron. Mark Stainhouse with a bullet. Has 1 goal tonight, has been denied several times, whether it be by Steele or Nick Rose himself. Behind the back pass. Crisply received by Stainhouse. And you're right, Stamp, but the passes seem a little bit off. Rose goes down to the splits, kicks it into the crowd to his left, about 8 rows up into the gold section here at the ACC.
Well, that's a hard shot by Sean Williams, known primarily for his passing, but he can let it fly too.
Sure, and a minute 20 to kill for the Rock. Not giving up that rebound, and whoa! Well, he did. Nick Rose trying to get a little cute on the ball to toss it up into his stick to make the outlet pass. Swung and missed. It bounced down. Have another look at this one. This could be very costly.
Yeah, you'll see it just jumps out of his stick as he pulls it up, and Reza Terich grabs it and wastes no time tucking it in behind Rose. This will be a good look as Rose tries to lift it up. It looked like the end of his shaft may have banged on Jesse Gamble, who was there cutting into the crease as he was trying to cover a Bandits player.
Reza Terich has been buzzing all night. Gets his first. So now only 2 goals down. And let's see if this lights a spark under the Buffalo Bandits. See Priolo being double teamed, shoved aside. Rock coming back. Boy, Priolo's a nasty individual, isn't he?
He is, and such a great defensive player. And part of the reason is he brings that real edge to the game.
Well, 6'5", 234, that helps too. Going 5-hole on Cosmo. Stopped was Hellier. Dane Smith on the fast break. Backdoor to Stainhouse. Stainhouse with a laser rip. There's that rebound. Now being mauled is Benesh. Benesh still has the ball somehow. Chapman and Greer all over him. And is that going to be a holding call?
It is. Holding call on Chapman, and he makes no argument, just runs straight to the penalty box.
Benesh got engulfed in the white jerseys of the Toronto Rock. Chapman will pay the price.
It's amazing that Benesh was able to get that ball up off the floor with them draped all over him and get close to getting a shot off.
So there's Benesh. Whenever he scored in Minnesota, they played Benny and the Jets. Pass intent for Tavares. Seemed to go right through his stick. Knocking on the door. Rose turns him aside. There's Stainhouse again. Fresh 30. And the Rock coming up here trying to eat up some time. 1:30 to kill on the Chapman minor. There's Jesse Gamble winding his way up the floor. And that's where that speed on the transition game really comes into effect, where you can out-muscle and outrun those offensive players. Rock going to try to eat up some clock, both on the penalty and on the game clock, as they do lead by 2, with now 10 minutes having gone by in the final quarter. And a long one, Stefan LeBlanc. Cosmo had to be careful on it. Squeeze those pads a little extra tight to make sure that one didn't squirt through.
Yeah, you can see Cosmo waiting to see where that ball was before he started to move.
52 seconds on the power play for the Buffalo Bandits, seeing if they can capitalize. Stainhouse's quick release and the power he's able to get behind it, just spectacular. And a foot race. There's Ethan O'Connor. A shot. He was hammered from behind by Benesh. Still got a good offering away. Anthony Cosmo got the ball tied up in his pads. With that, we'll take our last media timeout. 10-8, The Rock leading the Bandits. You're watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Evans, flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon into the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again! It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games, live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
Evans, flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon into the net. Scores!
Our game here is the only game on the NLL slate tonight, but we've got a full schedule of action tomorrow evening. It starts at 7:30 Eastern as these Bandits head to Rochester to take on the Nighthawks. That game will air live here on the Lacrosse Network, as well as the Colorado Mammoth trying to clinch a playoff berth. They take on Minnesota at 8 Eastern. Also watch Edmonton host Calgary at 9 Eastern. Then at 10 Eastern, Vancouver hosts Philadelphia, live exclusively on universalsports.com. Viewers in the U.S. can watch that game live with a subscription to Universal Sports Network. If you don't have it, you can call your cable company and say you want it. Viewers in Canada can watch it free with no subscription at universalsports.com. Welcome back to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. The Toronto Rock lead the Buffalo Bandits 10-8. 20 seconds left on Toronto. Sandy Chapman holding Minor. The Bandits seeing if they can hold it within one on the power play, and they do. John Tavares, the wily veteran, smooth as butter from the right side, makes this a one-goal game.
Tavares, once again, very similar to the last one, has a chance to set that front foot, shoots straight over the top. The last one was down by the outside foot. This one was up past the shoulder. That shows you how dangerous that overhand shot can be.
Sure.
The one earlier in the game pulled the Bandits back into it when Toronto had taken that 5-2 lead, and here he pulls them back in once again. The living legend.
The captain of the Buffalo Bandits, the second goal of the night, both coming on the power play. Under 4 minutes to go. Still anybody's game. Bandits trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. The Rock trying to stay alive in the hunt to clinch the second spot. Stainer's had some room. Saved by Steele. Rose cut down the angle, but it was stick side. The ball bounced right back out. Jesse Gamble being tumbled. How did he keep the ball? Are you kidding me? Jesse Gamble got turned inside out by Mark Stainhouse. Still kept possession somehow. He'll head to the bench. There's Stephen LeBlanc. He has a hat trick tonight. Stephen LeBlanc shouldering his way through. Ran out of real estate. Got shoved down by Rory Smith. Stephen LeBlanc and Rory Smith. Some shoving behind the play. There's Dane Smith.
Rory Smith wanted a penalty because LeBlanc pushed him over, but Rory Smith was standing on Stephen LeBlanc's shoe at the time.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't seem to... some details seem to get missed when you're asking for a penalty sometimes, doesn't it? Under 3 minutes to go. Buffalo out shooting Toronto 55-46 now. Nick Rose has put on a gem this evening after not starting the last 2 games to Brandon Miller. Intercepted that pass attempt by David Brock. Pick up the loose ball. Thornbert coming into tonight 4th in the NLL in loose balls. Face-off specialist is Thornbert.
And the smart decision by Thornbert to pull it out rather than trying to force the ball through to the cutting Mitch Wild.
That's savvy. Sometimes you see players, especially defenders, get a little excited. Terrence went to the screen sidearm. Rose saw it. Still, now at the rebound, and we're seeing the Bandits now getting those second efforts off of the rebounds that Nick Rose gives up. Here's Sandy Chapman. Holding on, waiting. This is the tricky part of the game, Stamper, where you're up by 1, you want to eat the clock, but you also don't want to be too passive.
You want to keep pressing and do what's got you to this spot in the first place.
Rob Hellier on the left wing, looking for some space. Casey Byrne's trying to send a pick. Went to Kevin Ross on the right side. Another one-touch. Kevin Ross with a hat trick tonight. His first 3 goals of the season. Wow.
What a play. Great movement. There's Steph LeBlanc back out on the floor getting his shoe back on, but it's his reverse number 71, Kevin Ross, who gets his 3rd, and what a huge one it is for the Toronto Rock. And Ross, once again, just tapping it home as he streaks in.
Wow.
Is shown before he can do that. Barely touches the ball, just lets it bounce off. It's going to be reviewed by the officials, since we are in the final 2 minutes of the game.
The 29-year-old, if it stands, a huge goal for Toronto would put them up 11-9 with just 1:54 left. Steven has the binos out, taking a look. Because of the angle we're at in the Foster Hewitt Media Gondola box here at the ACC, we can see the same screen that the officials do. What are you seeing, Stamper?
It's a little blurred, but now they're slowing down. It's very close.
And we saw the Buffalo Bandits get a goal called back, which would have made it 10-8. And if this one comes back, it would remain a 1-goal game, with the Bandits starting to buzz and turn up the heat on Toronto.
You're going to take one more look from a different angle. Oh, that's close. That is very, very close.
What's your call?
I'm going to have to go it's a goal.
And count it. It's a goal. Kevin Ross scored his first and his 3rd from the same spot. Just a swat in place of Josh Sanderson tonight. What a game by Kevin Ross. and an unexpected X factor for this Rock club tonight. So Toronto up by 2. The net of Buffalo is empty. Extra attacker on. Minute 37 left. Buffalo trying to break a 5-game losing streak and avoid going to 500. Ball changed direction, went by Nick Rose and wide. Ball loose. It's an open net. Here's Damon Edwards looking for his second. Off to the races and scores. 12-9. Damon Edwards. He has a shorthanded goal and an empty netter tonight.
And the Buffalo Bandits, if they're going to get second place in the East and host the second versus third playoff game, they're going to do it the hard way.
Oh, yeah.
Either roaring back with 3 goals in the final minute, 20-4, it's overtime here, or they're going to have to beat the East Division leading Rochester Nighthawks in one of their 2 remaining games.
Yeah.
Unless Toronto loses in their final game of the season.
Right, to Minnesota. Rochester Nighthawks have already clinched the East Division, so if you're the Bandits, maybe you'll get them trying to rest some players, especially in that last game.
Yeah.
That might be the... And we have Jesse Gamble down in front of the Toronto crease.
That is certainly a sight that nobody from the Toronto organization or their fans want to see.
He is getting up, so maybe just the wind knocked out of him. He is jogging. That might have been the case.
Not limping with either leg, so that's good to see.
So minute 20 left. The advantage for the Bandits is they do have Jay Thornburg, who's tremendous on faceoffs. Ethan O'Connor's done a pretty good job for the Rock this year in some spot duty. Thornburg did come up on it. Anthony Cosmo will jog to the bench. I believe
not sure if the Bandits have taken their time out.
I was going to say, yeah. Looked like it might have been a timeout. Is there a challenge? Well, that's the old flag, I guess.
Yeah, that's just they're taking the flags away because it's now under the official's decision whether they review any plays.
And it is a timeout by the Buffalo Bandits. So, the Stamper, you're down 12-9. There's a minute 15 left. And the NLL, we know nothing's impossible. We know that. But they got to score quick. Who do you go to right now? I've liked the play of Ryan Benesh. We know Tavares can pop out and score, but he's really been his best tonight on the power play. We've had Mitch Jones move nicely. Who do you give it to off the bat?
I'd be looking at Tavares, just the way he's been shooting. If you can, with the extra attacker, you've got a little extra space. They do have Cosmo out, and I'd be inclined to let JT have a rip.
Play blown back in. Minute 11 to go. Empty net for Buffalo. Extra man on. Buffalo whipping the ball around the perimeter. Intercepted. And there is Sandy Chapman looking for another empty net goal. Not giving up a Stainhouse. Chapman scores! With 58 seconds to go. Put a bow on this one.
Chapman picking off the pass, using his wheels to get down the floor ahead of Stainhouse. Just tucks it in. You could consider pulling out and trying to kill some time here, but it was still just a 3-goal lead. Chapman decides he'll just put it in the net, make it a 4-goal cushion. And like you said, that will pretty much wrap it up for the Toronto Rock.
And the scramble here, 54 seconds left. Anthony Cosmo back in goal for the Bandits. And Buffalo hung around tonight long enough, couldn't capitalize, and their late season slide will continue. The losing streak will get to 6. Bandits looking for one more, 37 seconds to go. 21 on the shot clock. Looking for Resetaritz. To the weak side, over the head of Resetaritz. He waits, plants, goes to the top. Sean Williams. That offering well wide, collected by Wilson though, going again right at Nick Rose, who stays down as the 30-second shot clock expires. 10 seconds left. They moved it back up 11.9. And Scott Johnson and Aaron Wilson were having a long conversation about possibly dropping the gloves.
Pushing a shove, and David Brock gets over to get between them.
Looks like cooler heads will prevail.
They'll both spend the rest of the game just watching from the penalty box.
All 11.9 seconds of it. We'll have your 3 stars of the game following the final buzzer. Stay tuned for that, as well as our post-game comments. As the Toronto Rock will move to 8-9 on the year, already clinching that 3rd playoff spot. The Bandits fall to 8-8. 1 game left for Toronto in this regular season, 2 for Buffalo. Both of those matchups, yeah, it's against the division champion Rochester Nighthawks.
Like we said, they're making it hard on themselves.
Yeah. Not
that it would have been easy to win tonight, but
they've won their previous 2 meetings this year.
Yeah.
10 seconds. Damon Edwards, what a nice game he had. A shorthanded goal and an empty netter. Edwards just trying to weave his way through, and it is over! The Toronto Rock win it 13-9 and keep their hopes of getting that opening round East Division home playoff game against Buffalo.
You can see them mobbing Nick Rose down in his end. What a game they had. It's an emotional Rock team after the big win, and this makes one thing certain: the game tomorrow night for Buffalo in Rochester is going to be a big one.
It's huge. It's absolutely huge. And let's get to our 3 stars of the game, Stamper. We begin 3rd star, hard to argue, with the bounce back effort, showing heart, showing he can respond to adversity. Nick Rose.
Nick Rose, really a strong effort. The Bandits fired 57 shots at him. He turned aside 48 of them, and he just looked like he'd never stepped out of the crease. Just looked poised and calm, and he's still a young goaltender. That's a very impressive performance.
Well, and that's just it. And what interested me really, Stamper, was how he responded to Brandon Miller taking his job for 2 games, then being popped back in. Great sign for Toronto. That's a lot of maturity on Nick Rose. 2nd star, Rob Hellier. What a game, a goal, multiple helpers. Rob Hellier, he looked like a leader on the floor. And for such a young player, stepping up in the absence of a Garrett Billings, he's been spectacular these last number of games.
Yeah, a goal and 6 assists. He has been playing so well, really maturing his game, just looking fantastic. And again tonight, just a really key cog in the offense. With Garrett Billings out and Josh Sanderson out, what a performance by Rob Hellier.
No doubt, and the 1st star of the game in Toronto's 13-9 win over the Buffalo Bandits, Stephen LeBlanc, a hat trick, including one on the power play. Stephen LeBlanc busting through the 40-goal barrier tonight.
Yeah.
A great season and a dominant effort.
Yeah, he was just so strong tonight, played a really physical game. Feel a little badly about having to leave Kevin Ross out of it. He got that late goal. He had 3 goals and 2 assists, but we certainly had 3 outstanding performances there. We had some guys, John Tavares, a couple of goals, a couple of assists for the Bandits. I thought Rory Smith played a very strong defensive game, but LeBlanc, just critical goals and a critical presence out there, showing that they couldn't slough off of him to try and cover some of the other players.
No, and I've said it for a lot of this season, Stamper, in that Stephen LeBlanc has really stepped up his game, and we're going to send it down to the floor for Colin Doyle as it's the last Toronto Rock home game of the season.
Say this, I'm speaking on behalf of a group of guys here that are real proud to be playing in this building in front of you great fans. We went through some ups and downs this year, and things in this arena did not change. That makes us extremely proud, and we owe that to you guys, the greatest fans in the NLL. With any luck, hopefully we'll have a playoff game in town in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much.
Once again, your playoff-bound Toronto Rock!
That is the Rock captain, Colin Doyle, on Fan Appreciation Night. A crowd of over 11,200. The great fans from Buffalo coming up to support their team too. And we have a very interesting East Division brewing here, Stephen, because, as I mentioned, the playoff seedings, they're undecided, but the berths are clinched. You have Rochester who won the division. They sit at 12-4. Buffalo now falls to 8-8. Toronto up 8-9. Buffalo with the game in hand. The way this shakes out is if the Rock beat Minnesota, then they've done all they can do.
That's all they can do.
The Bandits have to win 1 or 2 against Rochester.
Yeah, and it may not even matter Toronto's next game. If Buffalo can win tomorrow night, they will take second place. And but the Rock came in with one thing they had to do tonight, and that was win this game. And they left no stone unturned to make that happen. A great performance by this home team.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta like the effort as usual of John Tavares, scoring a couple power play goals, and I like the game of Steve Priolo.
Yes.
Again, using his size, that 6'5", 230 plus frame, he on 2 separate occasions almost single-handedly gave that spark that the team needed at the end of the first quarter, shoving Diachenko, I think it was, or Edwards into the bench.
Edwards.
Yeah. With Edwards, that sparked the team to come back and score 3 straight goals, going a 3-goal run, tied up at 5. Later on in the game, too, helped to get the energy back up. The effort of Priolo down this stretch and heading the postseason cannot be overlooked.
It can't. I mean, this guy is a real leader for this club. He's a young player who's had to have his game mature. He had a tendency to take some ill-advised penalties earlier in his career. We saw today that he just doesn't really do that anymore.
No.
If he's going to take penalties, he did take 14 minutes in penalties, but it was in the middle of a skirmish. And he took some other players with him. And I'll tell you, he is a guy who is on everyone's short list for the top defensive player in the National Lacrosse League.
Yeah, tough to argue with that. So, Stamper, this could be, depending on how things shake out, our last broadcast of the year. It's been a pleasure working with you, my friend. And if the Rock do win out, or if things shake out a certain way in the playoffs, we could be back here at the Air Canada Center. But if not, it's been a great ride. Yeah,
if we don't come back, thanks everyone for watching all year, and it has been a lot of fun. And if we do, then we know it's going to be exciting.
Watch out. It's going to be the playoffs, folks. So, for our IT wizard, Matt Wise, for Steven Stamp, I'm Andy McNamara. The final score, the Toronto Rock beat the Buffalo Bandits 13-9. Thanks for watching the NLL on the Lacrosse Network. Good night.